When I started building homes, I didn't study architecture. I didn't study engineering. I asked for a year for people to invest with me in real estate. And people were saying, no. Finally, someone gave me $1 million.
Who's that person? Yeah, you have close ties with Trump and Conor McGregor and business leaders. How did you form those relationships? Hidden rooms, panic rooms,
underground shooting ranges.
What if somebody came to you and said, I want 2,000 square feet underground that nobody knows about?
Well, there's a specialized group of people that would work on something like that. They all sign NDAs. So I go in, buy them for $1.1 million, build a massive 14,000 square foot home and sell it for $10 million. That's where you really make the money.
So if someone's listening to this show and they're in the position you were in, what would you say is the first thing they should be doing to get started?
I would say...
What it is, Brad Lee back again with another episode of Dropping Bombs. Today in the studio, folks, I have a real treat for you, especially if you like making money. Roberto Bolona in the house.
Thank you for having me, Brad.
My pleasure, brother. Hey, if you guys want to follow this dude, at roberto.mbcapital. His website is brennercox.com. If you don't follow him, he's a Miami-based real estate developer, builder, and founder of Brenner Cox Luxury Construction. Since immigrating to the U.S. from Venezuela, he graduated from Florida International University and over the decade closed more than $50 million in real estate projects. And ultimately, you're a developer.
Yep.
And you found yourself a nice little, almost
niche.
Secret.
Yeah, a hidden gem.
A little secret area.
Yeah.
In South Florida.
Yeah.
Basically Fort Lauderdale.
It's Fort Lauderdale.
So between Fort Lauderdale and Miami, I mean, that's all, basically just a huge metropolitan area, no?
Yeah. I mean, the tri-state is Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, and Miami. And this hidden gem is West Fort Lauderdale, right next to the Everglades, but still close enough to Poppy Steak in Miami, right? Or Fort Lauderdale by the ocean. Its name is Southwest Ranches. So it's a place where I develop a bunch of my luxury homes. I also do it in Miami Beach too, right? But here's an opportunity for those people that don't want to buy homes for 30, 40, but you can still get them for $10 million, right?
Yeah.
So it's still a good price point, but that's why it's a hidden gem. It's close enough to everything.
And it's affordable still, even though
it's affordable.
10 million is not necessarily affordable. So would you get the same amount of house where you're at for 10 million as it would cost you if it was just 10 minutes down the road?
No. I mean, well, luxury markets in South Florida are very peculiar, right? So you have Fort Lauderdale by the water, you have Miami Beach, you have Coconut Grove, you have Coral Gables. All those are in Miami. You have Fisher Island. Trying to remember where Jeff Bezos is. Is an island too, right, in Miami. And then in Fort Lauderdale, you only have Southwest Ranches, right? It's big lots, almost like a farm type area. There used to be nurseries out there. It's a very small town, 12 square miles, that has been gentrifying, right? So before you used to have, and people built in the 60s and 70s homes that were 2,000 square foot. So I go in, buy them for $1.1 million. Right, that's one of my most recent deals, and then build a massive 14,000 square foot home in there and sell it for $10 million. Right, so that same home in Miami would be $25 million. Right, so any athlete, entrepreneur, business tycoons, they're smart. Right, they can still go to Poppy Steak in Miami. They can still go to Fort Lauderdale, have a great time, and still go back to Southwest Ranches. 25, 30 minutes away.
Which is probably better anyway.
It's better anyway.
Like I have a house in Nashville, Brentwood, Franklin's, the big rage down there, College Grove. Well, now that I've been there a couple of years, I'm like, dude, let me just get 10 minutes past quote unquote Brentwood or Franklin.
Right.
And it's a third. And it's like, dude, listen, you crossed the street. Right. What's the difference?
Yeah.
So why would anybody, especially the ones that are making that kind of money that can afford those homes, pay retail? Unless it's, of course, bam, it's right in the right location. Like, man, I'm right on the beach, right next to Poppy or whatever's hot down there. Other than that, it sounds like it's not rocket science. How'd you find this little gem?
Well, I moved from Venezuela 25 years ago with my family.
How old were you?
16. 13 years. No, I'm sorry, 23 years. 16 years old. I'm trying to do the math real quick here.
What was the difference? Like, you're in Venezuela, being 16, you probably obviously, that was the normalcy. And then you come up to Florida. What was the major difference being an immigrant just showing up?
Well, just like any immigrant, right? You compare everything you do and it all felt, just because of the language itself, like you're in a movie, right? In outside of the US, everywhere, you always watch US-based movies and you think you understand part of what they're saying, even songs, right? Even I think last weekend I went to the Backstreet Boys in the Sphere. And now I remember some of the songs, but I know what they really meant. Like, it was all phonetically when you're in Venezuela, even though I did speak English, or at least I thought. But when I was there, I wasn't really working. I wasn't really an adult. I wasn't. So it was more like the teenage years. And also when I came in here, I basically went straight to college. So I went to FIU in Miami. I was 17 at the time. But everything felt new. Everything felt like an opportunity. Any immigrant, really. And I know there's so much bad publicity and valid, really, for Venezuelans now.
Why? Oh, because now the criminals are the ones that are here, right? Yeah. And in Chicago, and you've heard the news like everywhere. Was it Colorado where I don't know if it was Venezuelans, but someone was taking
Venezuelan
over
gangs, right? Like now Venezuela.
Where they were cooking dogs or something, ducks. They were doing
No. Those were the Haitians.
Oh, Haitians.
Yeah. I don't keep up with all the news, but I remember that story. But now, funny enough, Venezuela is so safe because all the criminals left, and the U.S. really, adopted them until now when they're trying to get rid of them. But for me as a Venezuelan, as an immigrant, I'm appreciative of the country that gives me an opportunity. So if my parents moved here, I moved with them. Everything I've done so far, even with the success I've had, I take it with, a grain of salt.
Well, have you always been entrepreneurial? Does it run in the family?
It does run in the family. From my grandfather to dad to uncles, all have tried. Some very successfully. And real estate has been embedded. I have an uncle of mine that is a partner of, they have $2 billion of assets under management.
Damn.
So they deal primarily with pension funds. They don't do what I do, which is luxury, residential development. They buy buildings, multifamily, not only in the US, but Latin America as well. So I've gotten some from that on the real estate when I started off. And, even throughout college, I started like a truck washing business to pay for college. And then I also started like a very, very small fund. I didn't have a license, but you call friends, family, whatever, and see who can give you some money. So I'm good at asking and trying to negotiate, and was able to get some 7 figures and invested in the stock market.
Damn.
Yeah.
You got some good family.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy to ask.
But still, like, dude, I always wonder how people get started. They're making millions of bucks, and it's like, well, what'd you do when you started? Like, how do you help people listening to the show figure out, like, how did you start? You just started asking friends and family if you could have some money?
Yeah.
Well, they must have trusted you.
I think what it was is they were friends of my grandfather and so forth, so on. They look at someone young and feel if he's someone, and I've always been like a good type of character, right? Like, I drink some alcohol, but I'm not really into alcohol. I'm not really into drugs.
You're responsible.
I'm a responsible type of guy, right? And I think what convinced them, because I've never done this before, and I wasn't going to lie and say like, listen, I have a fund or nothing. I was 19 years old. Is what they saw in me was the ambition and the hope that maybe it would pay off big time. It did pay off, but it was during the 2007 and 2008 recession period. And so if you were in stocks, it was tough. And the way I would do it is, this is prior to Robinhood and to having all these different platforms. I would befriend people in private banks and would say like, or even if these people had money in private banks, and I would invest through their bank accounts because you get authorization. I would ask them, like, what are you promoting as stocks this month? And I would know kind of, or at least that the bank itself would put some money in there, then gave it to their clients so that if it goes up, the bank can also offload a little bit. Or at least that was the rationale. And so I did good enough for them. But
what'd you study in college?
I did communications and finance.
So finance is a good solid foundation.
Yeah.
How did the communications play into all this?
I think communications play more than finance.
Really?
I think one of the things like college, and I see it more and more now. I have 2 kids. I have 2 daughters, 12 and 8. And they have a different life. They go to private school, like all this different kind of stuff. But communications taught me I had a class where we would have to read 1 book a week. And so I learned how to read really fast and like be technical about what I was trying to find. You're trying to find, you're not really trying to be in the story. You're trying to find stuff in the book. And
value.
Yeah. You're trying to find something that's missing in your life at that point in time, essentially, and understand the fundamentals of what the author is trying to get to. Details are important, but essentially, if you read 1 book a week, I mean, there's only so much you can, and you had to give a summary about it. And I think that's what I gathered from the 4 years in college. I know in today's world, on the finance side, really, there's nothing that, there's some fundamentals, but it's not until you get a real job, like something in real life, that you understand finance or what it is or what your job is. I mean, you can understand your role, your responsibilities, but reading and getting into the details is, I think, what got me ahead of it.
Reading.
I would, yes.
Reading, folks. I try to tell people all the time, listen, the reason you're getting what you're getting is because you're doing what you're doing. The reason you're doing what you're doing is because you believe whatever it is you believe. The only way to change what you're doing is to change what you believe. And the only way to change what you believe is to get new information. And new information is in books. So start reading every single day, a book a week. It doesn't matter to me. I mean, sometimes it takes me longer than a week to read a book, but read. I read every single day. Do you still read every day?
Yeah, I read every day.
You accredit that to your success?
Yes. I accredit many things to my success, but primarily I think it's discipline. I think every day I wake up 4:30, 4:45 in the morning.
Is it a struggle?
To wake up? Sometimes it is.
What about most times?
Most times.
Most times is a struggle? You have to set an alarm, or are you pumped up?
No. I'm excited to wake up.
Yeah.
The difficult part is, as I get older, I do feel the need to sleep more because I go to bed late at night. So midnight. I've always been like a night owl. And but I always know that if I start early, I get ahead of everyone, right? Or at least I get ahead of myself, right?
Yeah.
So
Do you think discipline is a character trait or a choice?
It's a choice.
Pay attention, folks.
Dropping bombs.
Well, dude, listen, people don't get that. They're like, I don't have discipline. You're choosing not to. Discipline isn't something that you possess or don't possess. It's a choice. So people just need to make a choice. And it's like that difficult. You want discipline to lose weight? You choose, hey, I'm going to have discipline. And then, dude, you don't change your choice.
Yeah.
See, a lot of the people that are out there not winning in the game of life is mainly because they constantly choose the wrong shit.
Yeah.
Like, choose the right shit and stop changing your choice. I'm going to get in shape. Boom. That was a choice. Make it. You're done. You made it one time. Winners make choices once.
Yeah.
Losers make the same choice 100 times.
Yeah, that's right. I love that. And discipline is also creating a routine and tasks at hand, right? So with all the noise, I own a business that has, 25 employees in-house, and then I deal with over 100 plus third-party subcontractors, all these different kind of people. And there's so much noise, and every day there's always something, right? We're dealing with humans. Like, it could be someone complaining about their feelings, someone complaining about not completing the task. So building the routine is, as soon as I wake up, I have a list of things that I'm going to do no matter what. I'm not just browsing and thinking, I wake up excited to finish certain tasks. So discipline first, which is essentially waking up, building a routine, and then looking into details and thinking big, always thinking big, right? I think that's what's at least worked for me. Some of these deals where, I sell a $10 million home, or I build a home. And when I started building homes, I didn't study architecture. I didn't study engineering. I just went from entrepreneurship, and I had a lot of luck. Really, I asked for a year for people to invest with me in real estate, and people were saying no, 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 no. I used to come to conferences here in Vegas, to the ICSC, and started to befriend people in the corporate world, big landlords, and then finally someone put some trust in me, gave me $1 million. And
who's that person, and what caused him to finally trust you?
That's a childhood friend. And I had presented him, his brother, and his dad about buying like Walgreens and CVS and all this different kind of stuff, and doing it at a good cap rate and then selling it. I understood a lot of what I was doing, but I've never really done it. I never really worked for a company that did it. So I'm not that smart. I was just like understanding of different areas. And he one day he said, okay, I'm going to do it. I was like, okay. Like I try to act normal, but in my head, this is real now. And so once that happens, and it has happened to me before, you can't fail, right? Like responsibility is number one. So I ended up buying, Kentucky Fried Chickens, Pizza Huts, Burger Kings, different type of commercial properties. And it's a little bit complicated how I did it, because essentially I was buying the building from a landlord that didn't want to sell, but I knew the franchisee was struggling with the sales because I had connections in corporate through big corporations that some locations were failing. And what I knew is corporations, when they had a failing franchisee that would go bankrupt, corporation comes in because they did the study already of the traffic on the roads and what they don't want to lose their location. So they come in, they operate as a corporation, and then they sell that franchise to someone else, right? So it's like a complicated kind of situation, but I did that, and I still own some commercial properties, and I've done that in Missouri, Illinois, Tennessee, Florida, Arizona. So I've traveled, and now it's a different deal. And going back to luxury and how I got into it is because of an opportunity. I saw it's always good to be early, and that's where you really make the money. So COVID, buying land in Southwest ranches, even after COVID, where people, now you have more common, more comparables in the area when you have homes selling at 22 million, at 16 million, 15 million. But in the past, Southwest ranches, you would be doing great, or you would be one of the top sales if you would sell at 4 or 5 million, right? So it's always good to be early. So I saw that, I built a team and went from there.
Now, after graduating, where did the first real money come from that let you break into this game? Family?
No. The big break, I think it was I've always been able to make some money here and there, but it was in the commercial real estate when I bought some of those properties, because I've always been able to make some money that has given me afloat, but never money where I would say, okay, I have 7 figures in the bank. Like, this is like I've made it kind of situation. And so after selling some of those properties, offloading right after COVID, when everything had just skyrocketed, I was like, okay, I'm in a different position now. And this...
How much did you have?
In the bank? A few million.
What did it make you feel like?
That I needed to spend it.
Invest it.
Invest it, right?
Yeah, because spending and investing are two different things. I spend millions, right. You invest them. And
yes.
I need to get where you're at.
Yeah, it made me feel good, and that I was right, vindicated for myself, right? No one else. But it also made me feel, what the fuck do I do now? Because I've never been in I've hear like Kevin O'Leary and all these different dudes that talk about you get to 5 million and then you can just chill, put it in the bank. But I don't have that in me. I don't feel that I should balance just yet. I like imbalance. And so it was investing. It was buying land.
You just kept doing what you were doing.
Yeah. And I found different opportunities throughout the area. So big believer in what's called in real estate farming, which is know your area or know what age group you're in and what you're doing so that you can maximize. I mean, doing something that's outside of what I do, I would do it if I trust the person that I'm doing it with. Like, there's always risk in it, but.
So if someone's listening to this show and they're in the position you were in where, they're interested, but they haven't really done anything, what would you say is the first thing they should be doing to get started?
In real estate development?
Yeah.
It's, oh man. That's a good question because I would say, call me. It would be the first thing. So we can have a conversation. Just that. I think every case is independent. Again, I'm an immigrant, right? There's so many people that could also be immigrants that maybe look at a different path, or it's just ambition. You got to have it in you, and you got to take risks. You can't think in terms necessarily of percentages when you risk. At least that's how I do it. So people think I'm going to get 7% of my money, 8% of my money. But if you're trying to develop and you're trying to come up, depends how much money you have, right? You can do a flip for a Section 8 or something, a smaller type home. Don't think about, I have 100,000, I'm going to put them in and I'm going to make $12,000, 12%. Think about making 50,000 on it. Like the mindset has to change when you're getting into development because that's how you grow your money essentially. And so many different things can happen. And if you're focusing like a lot of people are doing, like, I made 12, I really made 6%. You're not an analyst. You're never gonna really, you got to think in like multiples kind of thing. So at least that's how I think.
What do you ever take a risk that's turned out incorrect?
Yeah, for sure.
And what happens? I mean, what happened?
So this big development I had, a home, wasn't the market turned or became soft and wasn't really coming up to the expectations of the price per square foot that I was going to sell it for. So I doubled down. I started putting more amenities into the home because I'm not going to be a sitting duck, right? I'm not going to. So I ended up making some money. Not really what I was expecting, but I ended up putting like basketball court. I ended up putting a guest house, stuff that wasn't in the pro forma, stuff that wasn't planned for it.
So you risked more money, basically.
Right. I doubled down on it. And in order to get that money, it's not like I have any developer is always over leveraged, quote unquote, right? Like a real developer. And you can see it from Trump. When he has his skyscrapers and like, I know he's used Chapter 11, never used that before, and all those different techniques. But it's because always the ambition of doing something better, something bigger, something that can stand, the test of time. And you need money for it. So if I'm trying to do a basketball court and I'm trying to do a guest house, it's not like I had cash reserves just in case I'm going to have another million or whatever. So that means getting financially creative. Do I go to a construction lender or a secondary construction lender in this case? Do I call some friends and say, hey, do you want to pony up this? Risk is still there. We're just increasing square footage through the guest house. We're putting amenities in it. And I believe this is what's going to sell for. And also me thinking how much money I'm going to make up ending at the end of this situation. So I double down.
Where did you get the name Brenner Cox?
That's a funny story because I thought no one's going to buy from Roberto the builder any luxury homes. You can have Bob's barricades and stuff like that for like more. So I you hear stories from like Jordan Belfort and all these different people that have what's it called, Oakmont, or like all these different, like very more elegant type names. And I wanted to have something that's powerful, something that's precise. Brenner in German means to burn, right? And Cox is basically captain of the boat that,
Cox?
Yeah. Oh, it's the
in America that means wieners.
Yeah, I know. And because I have an accent, sometimes I joke, and I say I'm going to start a law firm called Cox and Cox. That's funny too.
I was going to start a law firm called Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe. So Brenner is to burn, and Cox is
the captain of a boat that gives you precision of where to go. So it's like, I want something powerful and precise.
Well, it sounds, prestigious, Brenner Cox.
Right.
And it's almost like, where did he come up with that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just, how did you know the word Brenner in German? You speak German?
No, I don't.
Did you search for it on Google?
Oh, yeah. I did search and I've had I'm an immigrant. I speak Spanish is my first language. English is my second. And I speak Portuguese and I speak other languages too, but not German. But I wanted something where if I'm going to Palm Beach, because I've been to Mar-a-Lago, for example.
Yeah, you have close ties with Trump and Conor McGregor and business leaders. How did you form those relationships? Through real estate?
Yeah, through real estate. Not that I've done anything with Trump in real estate, but I have close friends of mine that are members at Mar-a-Lago. So, and I've attended events too. And so I've met him, talked to him for a little bit, nothing where just impressed of how he's focused, ultra focused.
Yeah.
And he's a patriot too. And I love that. And Connor, I met in Washington, D.C. at the inauguration at a restaurant, let's call it. He's all energy. And then I've met, influencers. I have really close friends of mine that are, you not necessarily consider them influencers as far as they're pop stars or anything like it, but they're in that sphere where they have millions and millions of followers and they know, some of these people too. And they've done deals with me and they've done really, really well. So they've connected me through there. And ultimately, one thing leads to another. When I met Trump, it's not like, how that happened is I have a really close friend of mine. He's in politics and he introduced me to someone else. And that someone else one day said, you want to have dinner at Mar-a-Lago? And sure. And then Trump was there too. And then I've been like a half a dozen times to Mar-a-Lago or maybe more. And I just want to be in a circle of people that are leaders and not only Trump, listening to him, but that the people around him. Right. So the people that support him and not to get this too much into politics or not, but I want to be around the people that are in control, that are leaders, because people always complain and we love gossip. We live off of gossip, really. But I want to be in those circles where those conversations are being, held. And if there's something I can put in there from what I believe in, then that's the ultimate goal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So do you live in Southwest Ranches?
I do. Yes.
Did you build yourself a big fancy palace?
No, I bought an old home, really old home, because it had a basement. And in South Florida, you can't have, you can be underwater. So on the new code, you have to be 7 feet, 9 feet above sea level. So I like the fact that it had a basement and it was an old home. It looked like a stable. And I decided to retrofit it. So I completely redid it, gutted the entire thing, made the basement a movie theater. I built a pool. I didn't have a pool. I built a guest house. I built a man cave back there. I smoke cigars, but I still got to install the humidor because last time I did it with some friends, the smell stays in there. And it's 6,000 square feet.
I was gonna try to figure out how to make this a humidor so we could smoke cigars while we're talking.
Right, that would be incredible.
I just don't know how to do it. How did you know that you weren't getting screwed? Because you weren't in construction when you started, a lot of times my fear is I'm going to go ask a GC, hey, I need to do this. And then they tell me where I'm just overpaying and now my numbers aren't working. Or even if they are still working, I'm getting screwed. How do you know what shit costs? Not after 25 years, obviously it's easier to do. But when you first got started, how did you not get screwed by all these people that knew construction and you didn't?
I did get screwed. So the first thought is always, interview different GCs, ask for referrals, got a good, what I thought was GC. The most difficult part, and just to do a parenthesis here, is when you're building spec luxury, you want to have the highest standards of quality for when you sell. So it's not a flip of a Section 8 going back to where you can buy in Home Depot, you can buy anywhere else and whatever. You want to have the highest standards, but the subcontractors, GCs and whatnot, are professionals, are really good professionals, but they're not big enough where they have good enough cash flow or they don't have good enough cash reserves. And every business is a cash flow. It's a financing kind of situation. So what they do is they float the money. You give them money and they put it into another project. So I got screwed over when I started getting liens on a property that I owned that I had been paying the general contractor and that he's supposed to be paying subcontractors. And I thought I was smart enough where I did a cost plus contract where he's supposed to give me invoices, whatnot. And I started getting liens and I'm like, this is so strange. So I, ask him, talk to him. And then I had $150,000 of worth of liens from different people, 20,000, 30,000, 60,000, whatever. And I confronted him and I got 120 back from the 150. So I lost 30,000 there. It's a tough business, a rough business. And I learned my lesson. I learned my lesson where I needed to be closer to the action. And that's really how I built my team and what Brenner Cox is now. Is I decided, and as I've been growing, you have electricians, plumbers that not only they can screw you over, but they do not show up. And that's frustrating for anyone, right? Like I tell you, I'm going to have your pool done in 4 months. And this is my schedule. At least I tell you, I'm going to show up Wednesday or Thursday. And then I don't show up. And I tell you, oh, I'm sorry, whatever happened. But then days turn into weeks, turn into months. And suddenly I have your pool ready in 7 months. You missed the summer. You're fucking mad at whoever's doing it for you. So what I did basically is get close to the action. I got screwed over. And then no matter what, I make sure that I have those timings and that representation. Shit's always going to happen for, ultimately my clients after they buy my properties. I sometimes keep doing stuff for them, or I have a third party. I have a general construction contractor company out now. And so with that general contractor, I make sure that even if shit, hits the fan or whatever, I'm always there to respond. I'm always there to provide solutions. I'm not the guy that, oh, the electrician didn't show up. That's what he told me. I'd be like, I get another electrician in there. And then the previous electrician is like, what the fuck? What are you doing? I'm like, I'm sorry, brother. Like, if you're not going to show up, it's my name, it's my face in it. So I think that's what's, for me, made me gain so many relationships at the end of the day.
Do you have a lot of solid construction relationships where if an electrician doesn't show up, you just got another one in standby?
I do. But if not, we live in the age of Google. Like, we're not...
But how do you know which ones are just going to come take the money? And did I hear you say you'll pay a GC and they'll use that to build something else?
Yeah, without you knowing.
Is that even legal?
Well, you can't control. It's how you do the contract ultimately, but you can control. So it's the same as you.
Dude, if I paid you $500,000 to go build something and I found out you were taking that money and building something for someone else, and now I'm getting liens on this thing, right. I don't know what I would do. Well, it's not like I just throw another 500.
You don't.
I just call someone else because they're going to want 500. It's like, so how do you deal with that?
Right. So in my situation, or in this case, you structure it with draws, right? So you give a deposit, right? Because you got to start somewhere.
You got to
right?
trust them at least a little bit.
In the beginning, right? And you don't give more money until, and this is after the interviews, referrals, make sure they have the licenses, the insurance, all the due diligence on the administrative side.
So never hire the first one.
Yeah, I mean,
because I always try to go get bids, and but if the first guy walks up and he seems cool, and he says he can do it, I'm notorious for just going, get it done.
you got to have some referrals, I would say. You can do, listen, the guy that shows up is someone that you would think he would show up the rest of the construction. There's guys that show up and I don't want to give a bad rep on construction, to be quite honest. I don't want this conversation to be about that. I think more it's like for people that want to start developing or flipping or doing that kind of stuff or investing, that they be careful about how to do it. And it's good that you trust people. That's an instinct, I think, also for me of entrepreneurs. Like you want to be able to have a relationship with that person. And ultimately, you know what you know. You did your due diligence. And what I mean when people float their money and the contractors do that is, it's not like you find out through a bank statement or a financial. It's like you gave them $500,000 to buy land, get to framing, whatever the situation might be. And then 6 months go by or a year goes by. There's no fucking framing in it. There's no fucking shell. Where the fuck is the money? Right? And legally, you can't get like someone to disclose the books for you unless you have it in a contract, have a separate bank account. We can get very detailed in that kind of situation. But what happens is, you know that he's spending more time somewhere else, and then he goes back to you later on. So the best way to structure something when you're starting to develop is start with smaller deposit type of situation or whatever your structure is, and then see how the construction is progressing.
Did you evolve to where now you have your own construction people?
Yeah, I
to where now Brenner Cox, you have employees out there doing the work.
I do.
Yeah, so that's where I'd want to get to, where they just work for me.
Yeah,
and there's I don't need anybody. I have everybody
right,
top of the line, experts at their craft, killer materials. All the costs are controlled. Our sources are controlled. Everything's dialed.
Yeah. That's where I'm at, and I keep on growing and acquiring those different trades. I can't have all the trades.
If there's some solid tradesmen listening, do you think you could use more? Should they reach out?
Yes, of course.
Especially in South Florida, because there's a lot of people that listen to the show.
Yeah.
It amazes me what types of people listen to the show. I was thinking, well, who's going to listen when I started? And now it's like, I was talking to a guy the other day. He's doing like 350 million net.
Wow.
He said, dude, I've listened to every single one of your shows.
Wow.
I'm like, brother.
Congratulations.
That's freaking unbelievable.
That's impressive.
Yeah. So like there's going to be people listening that they're expert tradesmen. They're the people you're talking about. Maybe they want to partner with you.
100%.
So you're looking for good people still.
Yes. All of the time.
What about investors? Everybody's always looking for more money, because no matter how much money you have, you can always use more.
Yeah.
And what's the rule about using other people's money? Because I've never really fully understood that. Now, it'd be nice if I could use your money instead of mine, but I want to use your money because all mine's deployed doing the same thing. And I'm literally like maxed out because that's all I got. But as soon as I flip all this, I'll have more and I'll do it again. And then I need more money.
Right.
Do you ever find where people want your money? I always think to myself, well, why don't you just put in your money?
Yeah. There's from a developer point of view, we look for opportunities and we see those as hidden gems. And it's not planned all the time. You can look for, I tell you a quick story. I had a tip from a friend of mine in South Florida, a city called Weston. And the guy said, listen, the owner of the house, he doesn't live in the house. He lives outside the US. And he's not paying his property taxes. And so we know after 2 years of not paying property taxes, you can buy those tickets, those certificates. I didn't want to go that route. I just straight up asked the guy, do you have the owner's phone number? And the guy needed money. To make the long story short, I went under contract with him for that house for $340,000 in a neighborhood where homes cost $1 million. And I did that because I was quick. All these phone calls happened like 10 at night, 11 at night. And I was quick to not give him any hustle and to tell him, listen, I'm going to close for you in 21 days. I'm going to give you the money. And so this is a story where I ended up putting another, let's say 50,000. I was only in 400,000 and I sold it for 1.1 million. Those opportunities as a developer, you don't find. They're not out there for you to look. It's not. That's why we as developers, we always have our eye set in the farming area where we're at. And we also have our good relationships because we deploy our money into, I deploy my money into my deals, but then I fucking find this $300,000, $400,000, which I did it myself, right? But if it were a little bit more or there was something else.
Like 3 or 4 million.
Yeah. Like, Brad, here's an opportunity,
Well, I'm going to give you my number, dude. I want those opportunities presented at least. Yeah. I may not take them, and then you might stop calling because I don't take them. But if they're good opportunities, I'll give you my number. You call me.
Yeah.
And there's going to be some people that I know that would say, hey, when he calls you, if you don't want it, call me. I mean, money, I don't think there's a shortage of. It's the opportunity people are looking for, and then the person that they can trust behind it.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
Because I don't think there's a shortage of money.
There's not.
I mean, you've heard of Grant Cardone, obviously, down in South Florida.
Yeah.
So I always ask, why don't we just develop something? And he says, not interested. And I'm like, why? And he goes, I want it to cash flow from day one. Why are you so willing to build something when guys like Grant are just coming in, buying it from you and making the cash flow? Why is the developing? Because there has to be some value in developing, because dude, that's what I lean towards is like, I'll sell it to Grant. Let him cash flow it. Like, just let me put in 10 million, get back 15 million and move on to the next one. Why is one better than the other, or is it?
No, it's just different parts of the real estate development market.
Why'd you lean towards developing instead of cash flowing?
Because I like the riskier type of asset class. I like the fact that I can build a product, right? I visited many countries, many hotels. I also put that, let's say, style or design into it, and also have some good friends and partners that give me some input in there. But it's just different sectors of the market. For him, he's probably structured financially with lenders where he already has a method where he gets, he puts X much and the lender gives him X much and he gets the spread and he can have that and he can refi and he can have that for a lifetime. And for me, it's about building a product that I'm proud of and getting a big chunk of money at the end. So it's like a quick flip, right? Like, depending on the property we're talking about, but typically it's a 2-year scenario.
Do you ever think you're going to get into a position where you just buy and hold?
I've done that in commercial, not for spec luxury. I will get into a position where I will, because I've seen it in my family too, right? So like this uncle that I talked about, just cash flow. There's a time in your life where you are more strategic because, like we were talking before, I now I need to sleep more than what I used to, and I see it in myself. I drink more coffee now, that kind of situation, and so you get to different levels where you're more strategic. Where you're like, I'm going to just put in multifamily. I'm going to make this much, but I just don't have the energy or time to be there every single time. For me, it's a matter of where I'm at right now. At 38 years old, I'm building this company. Ultimately, I want to exit this company for several multiples, and then see what happens then.
What is going to happen then if you had your way?
I tell my wife I'm going to retire, but she says I will never retire. I drink too much coffee.
Well, but the plan would be, wouldn't it be nice to retire?
Yes, it would be nice. I mean, I have good examples of retirements. My grandfather, he retired when he was 40 years old and he's lived fine. He's now 86. And
to me, that's the goal.
Yeah.
Because everybody's out there trying to hustle and hustle and hustle and hustle. And pretty soon you're 86 years old. You spent your whole life hustling and you realize you just let your whole life go by.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was fun and it was an experience, but man, can you imagine figuring out how to get to a point where at 40 years old, you're done hustling and now you're just living, enjoying, traveling, spending time, quality time, and then get that many years
Yeah. You have to have it as ambitious as you have it for work. You have to have it in you to stay active. I think that would be for me, I would have to have a plan. Like I can't be at home sitting down watching TV. Like I would need to have.
Why does everyone think retirement means sitting home watching TV? How about get on a plane and go to St. Moritz for a month and stay in a 5-star hotel with your family and go shopping every day, eat at the finest restaurants every day. And then when you're bored, you're like, let's go check out Running of the Bulls in Spain.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden you just, you don't even need luggage. Why? Leave your clothes there. Yeah. You'll get some more clothes in Spain.
I agree. I agree. But in order to do that.
Why watching TV? Everybody says that. Like, I don't think I'm going to watch TV. Like, dude, you can retire and not watch TV.
Yeah. I don't watch it now.
Just FYI.
Yeah. Well, I hear you. And you have definitely a lot more experience I'm always open to listening to different perspectives. And yeah, I just think it's a fear of mine.
Yeah.
But also, in order for you to be able to travel, you need to be able to have been successful enough to have that money where you can travel. I mean, you can't do it, have a couple of 100,000 in savings and then think you're going to enjoy retirement, quote unquote, right?
Well, you better be thinking bigger.
Right.
To your point earlier.
Yeah.
A couple $100,000, especially if you're traveling like I'm talking about, that'll be gone in a couple months. And now you better get your ass to work. And if you're 70 and that happens, you're done.
Yeah.
Now, when you first told people you were going to play in the luxury construction game, did anybody kind of like laugh or be like, yeah, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I heard comments like, oh, so now you're going to have a luxury portfolio kind of thing. And like, who's going to buy it?
What are they saying now?
They're happy because they partnered up with me.
You ever heard the lyric? There's a song that basically says, everybody says you're never going to make it. And then when you do, they say, man, I knew you were going places.
Yeah. It's I don't know what that song is, but I've heard the saying of like, in the beginning, they think you're either crazy or a genius, but it's always crazy. You're crazy for trying to do that. And so essentially some people did make fun, but I convinced them enough, annoying enough to have people come in and join me without devaluing the myself or the ambition that I have. So this particular person did say that he still invested 7 figures with me, and he did really well. But that's a relationship of mine that, comes in different scenarios. And even if people tell me that kind of stuff, which I get rejections all of the time, right? All of the time, but I still don't give up, or at least I don't have a vengeance towards those people. I try to always see if they really can, in the situation of an investor, partner up with me. I try to corner them down or box them into a situation of like, it's not in my court where I got a rejection and said, oh, I guess he told me no. And on the next one, I'll invest on the next one. No, there's no next one. Like, if you don't consider me now, I'll have other people, and there's only a certain amount of spots that, these people will get. So I try not to give up before someone fully rejects me.
Well, there's only so many large lots in Southwest ranches. Once they're gone, they're gone.
Right.
So you're plowing through there trying to snatch them all up right now. You have any strong competitors that I've already figured out what you figured out?
There's people that are trying to compete, but they don't.
Why?
Because people have tried different techniques and not being really boots on ground.
Well, what if someone huge is listening, and you just said
they'll come to
Southwest ranches?
Yeah, they'll come to me.
Why can't they just go buy it and do the same thing?
You still need someone that you can trust and operate it for you. And the development, what's unique about Southwest ranches is you can't really have communities or associations where, and you can't subdivide lots into less than 2 acres. for 3 out of the 4 zones. And so some developers tried that when at council, because the big developers try to do that. And it was tried once. Some of the homes were sold for like $2-3 million. But the council basically said no more, because really all of us that live there, one, the ranches to be called the ranches for a reason. One are big lots, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 acres. And we'll spend the money on these homes. So what people have tried, my competition has tried to do, is snatch a lot for a good price, do some renders, and try to sell you the idea. That's not spec development. That's land sale. And with an idea, try to get an user. And that's a tough business because you really don't have a product. You only have land. And that's tough. And there's other people that have, there's a big enough company that try to do 16 homes and partnered up with a very good architect from Europe and build the concept. When you think too big on spec development, you try to build processes, and these homes are sold between 10 and 25, or at least that was the plan. They've only built 2 out of the 16, and they started like 6 years ago, probably 7 years ago. And the way their selling structure is, we have 4 model homes: Model A, Model B, Model C, Model D, whatever. So if you, Brad, come in and I start telling you in the sales center, well, we have Model A, Model B for 15 mil, you're like, fuck that. I'm not buying a
freaking track house
for 15 mil. For 15 mil is my design, custom. Or at least right. Like otherwise, buy something for 3, 4, and spend your money somewhere else. So they've failed to build the other 14. And so it's a niche market at the moment. It's an opportunity market in Southwest ranches for spec development, have them customized, and people are willing to buy final product, right? So ultimately, I put them up for sale before they're finished. But really, people, if you want to buy one of my homes, you might negotiate with me a little bit, but there's no one else out there with a brand new construction and finish with the CO. And so you're like, fuck it, I'll pay a little bit more, but I have my home ready. I can move in a month or 2 weeks or today if I wanted to.
Yeah, and people with that kind of money, that's what they're looking for.
100%.
So if I drive around Southwest ranches, you go, I built that one, I built that one, I built that one.
Yeah.
Now, is it like, that's a Brenner Cox custom home right there?
Well, the Brenner Cox really works, let's say, on the construction, and I promote more sometimes the architects for the homes. And Brenner Cox is always out there. There is a brand on the development side that doesn't sound so much like an attorney's office. It's called Monumental Real Estate. And Monumental really is at the forefront on the development. So that's a monumental home. Monumental Real Estate.
His accent sounds like you're saying money mental. Money mental. I was like, what's money mental? Oh, monumental. Yeah. So you sit with designers and dream up something gorgeous, or do just designers handle all that?
No. I sit down, I build a program. So essentially, the analyst kind of brain is like, what sells? At least 7,000 square feet, 6 bathrooms.
It's the finishes that matter.
Right. So
like
you start
if I sit down, I think, okay, I'm going to build my home, which I've never built my own home. That's something I want to do. That's why I want to connect with guys like you. I'm going to. There's a couple builders that I know. Now you're a third one, but there's 2 that like you could pay them all the money you want. They won't build your home. They only build certain ones, and they're like massive kick-ass homes, and the quality is just freaking unbelievable. So like, are you high quality like that? Number one. And then number 2, it's like, if I just sat down and thought, what do I want in my house? Like, I can picture walking in. Can they build whatever's in my head? Like, when I walk in, I want this ceiling that, almost looks like a church. And then you walk through it, and there's a big, open table with marble. And then you step down 3 steps, and there's a big old expansive sunken living room. And then up here's the kitchen, and over here's the piano, and the back's all glass. And like, can you just imagine shit and then build it?
Yeah. All that is possible. So, I do all the way to the finishes. So
hidden rooms, panic rooms,
underground shooting ranges, you name it.
Now, when you build and get plans with the city, what if somebody came to you and said, "Hey, I want 2,000 square feet underground that nobody knows about"? How do you do that without the city knowing?
Well, I can't, right? I can't because...
But does it ever happen?
It could happen. It could happen. Sometimes it does happen.
To where the city's looking at the plans and they have no idea there's also a football field underneath the ground with a tunnel leading to two neighborhoods down.
Yeah, I mean, and that is also part of the owner. You know, like as at the end of the day, everything I build goes to the city. They know, they approve, we finalize. But you would come to me and would say, like, I want to buy that house in front and I want a tunnel underneath the street. After permitting all is completed, whatnot, there's always something that can be done, but safety is always first. Like, you don't want to be caught in a situation later on where the owner is liable because something happens. So it's always, best advice. And if it's a smaller thing, like if you're doing like a tennis court or a basketball or even a helipad, okay, I get it. Some concrete, some rebar, it's not going to hurt anyone. If you're doing an underground shooting range, or if you're doing, because in Florida, you're at sea level, right? So you don't want to put yourself in a position when someone gets hurt and then people are pointing fingers.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be a safety thing. It would be a secret thing. Like, in other words, nobody knows about that room right there. So if you were trying to come in and rob me, and you have my plans, the city has plans for every house in this place, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they wouldn't even know that, hey, there's actually a couple of rooms you don't know about.
I've done that many times over.
And I want to create, like, I call them a panic room, but it's almost like, slide the fridge over, and behind the fridge there's a doorway leading to some stairs that goes above that is in a crow's nest, and that's where all the guns and safes and your secret getaways, and nobody knows it exists, not even the builder. Well, how do you do it if the builder doesn't know? Well, I don't know, maybe I don't know.
No, there's a specialized group of people that would work on something like that.
Do they sign NDAs? They
all sign NDAs, and this happens even, Larry Ellison and all these, big dudes, they all do this kind of stuff. It's not like Genghis Khan where you have to kill the people after so that no one knows where you were buried kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's more, listen, you can do it as simple as you want with some drywall and just a fridge. But typically the way I do those is air supply. Not only you're going to have your guns, you have air supply. What happens if you're there 24, 48 hours, right? Like, and all this different, and it's well equipped. It's at least 150 to 100 square feet minimum. So, and by the way, anyone that buys any of my homes has always, even if they're not celebrities or they're not in the limelight, there's always this fear of someone can come in, right? And the most important thing is always their families. It's not that they rob your Rolex or like, who cares about the material stuff? Like, your family is the most important thing. So I make sure that there's always in my plans, in my programming, when I do them, that there's a space and maybe it looks like a service area or something like it. And then I can customize it later on for whoever, because everyone has different needs, right?
Yeah, I definitely want a panic room. So in today's, real estate market, do you think luxury construction is recession proof? Because there's always somebody with money.
There's always somebody. That's so good you said that. Yeah, I mean, and today's the dollar, tomorrow's the yuan or whatever. I'm not saying that I want that to happen, but even in Venezuela, where I'm from, the currency got devalued so badly. But there's still the 1% that has the money that pays in dollars to buy the most luxury. So,
do you find that a lot of those, luxury homes sell for cash, or do you see financing happening?
No, these are, listen, it's all ultimately cash for me. And the way they're structured, it's never structured the contract where I'm going to finance 70%. It doesn't work like that. It's more like, here's the deal. It's an all cash. I know because I have so many relationships there that they normally take like a line of credit from like JP Morgan or something like that.
Where their money is.
Right. And they, advance them, here you go, $7, $8, $10 million. They make sure we don't even send an appraiser, or they don't send an appraiser. They just go, they make sure what it is, they have a portfolio and they buy it really quick like that. So
that's the beauty about dealing with high-end luxury. You're not dealing with a bunch of, it fell out of closing because the guy didn't get approved.
Right.
He couldn't come up with stipulations. He couldn't prove his income.
Right.
It's just,
yeah, it's quick. And also, even if they're very, could be, some of them could be, let's call them anal, because they're, I want this. Ultimately, I know that they can pay for it, right? So let's see the wall you have, the paneling you have behind you. They didn't like it. Rip it apart. Normally, if you're dealing with someone in the $2-3 million range, they're going to fight you up. Well, I still get, into negotiations with that kind of situation, but ultimately I know they can pay for it, right? That's a peace of mind for me too, because so many contractors go out and do different things and then they don't get paid. Maybe because sometimes they do it more informally, and I don't want to be in that situation. So I would say luxury is recession proof.
Are you afraid of going broke?
Sure. I mean,
were you ever broke?
No, never.
That's why you're afraid of it.
Yeah, no, I've never been broke.
I have.
Okay.
Nothing to be afraid of. You know what's crazy is most people freak out when I say that, is because even if you were ever broke, you'd know this. It's not that bad. Now, of course, it's, you got some problems, you got some challenges, but in reality, life still goes on. God still provides, and you'll be just fine. Yeah. And as long as you have the right mindset and attitude, you'll get it back, especially if you already did it once. So even if you went broke, dude, you'll get it back.
Yeah.
It'll just be a little inconvenient for a while. Inconvenient. That's it. That's about it. It'll get really inconvenient. But guess what? That's why I'm not afraid of it, which has allowed me to parlay and parlay and parlay. I continue to go up. Now everybody does this, but I continue to, go up. Yeah. And the reason I believe is because I'm not afraid of going broke.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're just saying that because, yeah, sure, I don't want to go broke, but are you literally afraid of it? Because if you are, I'd start trying to figure out how to develop that piece to where, no, I'm not. Because I think the gamble is where most people stop because they're afraid.
Yeah.
Especially when you have a little success like you're like, hey man, this is golden. And then all of a sudden they get scared to lose it. So they don't take risk anymore. Now they're just sitting there. And then 10 years later, they're wondering why they can't break this ceiling.
Right.
Well, it's because their mindset went from, I'll do anything, I'll put it all in, to now, well, I ain't risking that much. Oh, I'm not going to risk. And so they just stay stagnant.
Yeah, you're right. You're so right. No, I'm not. It's not something that I have on a daily basis. I think it's more the fear of not succeed. And I put my money where my mouth is. You said something very important, keeping God, and God's going to provide. I have a beautiful family. That's the most important thing to me. And, there's so many things that happened to me in my life, where I either manifested or had a gut feeling of something that happened, and it did happen, and it was weird that it did happen, and I can attribute a lot of work that I did for it, but it's I think it's God that gives me that support. And every morning I thank God when I wake up. I'm excited, right? Every morning. There we go.
That's where people should listen. I do the same thing.
Yeah.
And whenever you see someone succeeding, most people should think, what are they doing? Maybe I should do what they're doing instead of hating on them, instead of questioning everything. Why don't I just try what they're doing? And that's something I do every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, do you have any advice for the bomb squad?
What could I advise the bomb squad? You guys are doing amazing. You guys are doing any real estate deals, reach out to me.
What about all over the United States or just South Florida?
No, all over the United States. I've done deals, like I mentioned before, Illinois, Tennessee, Missouri.
I got
Florida.
flippers, developers, real estate agents. I've got investors. Like I've got a lot of people in the real estate game listening.
Yeah.
What would you tell them? Call you?
Call me, DM me, email me, go to my website. There's a form there with some questions. That way we don't waste anyone's time. It's like 10 questions that go in there. And I'd be blunt and honest. Like if you only want a conversation, I'll have a conversation, 15, 30 minutes, doesn't matter. But if there's an opportunity, I'll fly there. I'll go to Houston. I go, wherever that opportunity goes.
So you're just a straight hustler.
I am a guy that's trying to improve every day.
Folks, Roberto.MB Capital is where you find him on social media. His website is brennercox.com. Again, I obviously I see you going big places because you're only 38 and you're already accomplished. My dream, again, I lean towards development for some reason. Like buying something that exists for cash flow, I'll do that too, but like that doesn't excite me. What excites me is seeing something go up, or as they call it, erected.
Yeah.
And to me, until you change the skyline of a city, you're not really a developer. You're a builder. A developer changes the skyline. Do you have any ambitions for building skyscrapers?
I do. It's in talks, and we'll both remember this conversation a couple of years from now.
Hopefully, a couple of years from now.
Yeah.
It could be 20 years from now.
No.
At the end
I'll be retired by then.
I know, but you ever see these people that own these skyscrapers? A lot of times they're old silver-haired multi-billionaires, and you're like, oh damn. But like one day, 20 years from now, someone could be like, dude, that's the guy that was on dropping bombs 20 years ago. Yeah. Now he's a freaking old silver-haired billionaire.
Yeah.
Owns half of Miami.
That's going to happen with hair. I won't be bald. I was told that once, older gentleman, successful in New York. I told him I'm a developer, and he told me, no, you're not. And I said, why? Why would you say that? And he's like, you still have a good set of hair. So, silver hair, I'll take it, but still hair.
Well, folks, nowadays, hair, I was reading an article the other day, because I got a good head of hair.
No.
There's supposedly a gel that the UCLA's developed that when you rub it on, just gel. And again, I'm looking into it because, like, not for me, but like, if this is real, dude, whoever has that, I want to invest in that. Because if you can cure baldness,
right,
dude, you're a billionaire, trillionaire, maybe.
Yeah.
So I was reading, and UCLA, I guess, developed this gel that you rub it on your scalp, completely bald, could be bald for years, dead and dormant follicles. Within 7 days, dude, little baby hairs start regrowing out of these dormant and dead follicles.
Wow.
So it says baldness will be a thing of the past in the next 5 years. And I'm like, dude, I want to invest in that. If anybody wants to invest with you, you got projects coming up? You actively seeking investment?
I'm actively seeking investors for projects in Southwest Ranches. There's only a couple of lots available. And these are great opportunities where you'll make a lot of money investing and being part of something exciting. Building a luxury home, your name being attached to a luxury home is not the same as I own a duplex or a multifamily. A place where you can go, eventually, visit, take pictures, be there. And we're a growing company. We're the number one in Southwest Ranches when it comes to development. So, yeah, if you're interested in investing, reach out to me.
You ever develop a house so beautiful you don't want to sell it, you want to move in?
Yes.
Because I have. That would be my problem.
Yes,
when it's done, I'm like, I can't sell this. I got to live here.
I have, but yeah, it's a difficult. I get attached to every home I build because I'm designing them, and some come out in like either magazines or places where like, holy fuck, I partner up with the right architect kind of thing. And then there's others where I get to inspiration like in spaces, and like Frank Lloyd Wright, very known architect, like he worked with spaces, coming with smaller door frames and then to big openings. And I try to do something like it as well. And it's not what people are looking for now. And I'm like, oh, so they all are, I'm invested in all of them emotionally, but ultimately I have a responsibility. And to me, and if to any investors, to partners that come with me, I have to maximize the value. And also, if I stay in that house, my wife is worried that I'll, be hidden in one of the rooms and she's not going to see me enough. So whatever.
And not only that, if you keep it, you can't make the profit.
Right. No, you can't make the profit. Like that's a decision where you're going to keep it. And it works for me ultimately if I keep a home, because I'm a luxury real estate developer. So anyone that comes, already people that come into my home are surprised of my home. But if I stay in a 13,000 square foot home, which is probably double the size I am, it does work for me because more business is going to come from it. So it does work in that scenario. But it's a difficult parting, but it's good, the thrill of having success at the end when selling it and everyone else who was involved.
And last question, if someone out there has an opportunity and then they want an investor or a partner or a builder to come help them with it, are you down for those?
Yes, 100%.
So just anything real estate, shoot you a DM.
Anything real estate where there's enough meat in the bone, right? I'm not interested in cash flowing or multifamily deals. More, you can reach out to me if you're trying to build something, retrofit something, do something big, right? I do big luxury homes or a skyscraper, right? That kind of thing. But anything else, there's other people that are probably better than me at doing. So
you heard it. Roberto is my man. Give him a call. Roberto at roberto.mbcapital. Why do I always have to throw the accent when I say Roberto?
But it sounds great.
Folks, you heard it. Until next time, keep it real.
Love it. Thank you so much. Picture and
yeah, we're gonna get a thumbnail here.